Is this Dewalt pressure washer the perfect solution for your detailing needs? This thing's coming in with a rating of 1500 psi, 2 gallons per minute, and a fully serviceable unit with a triplex pump. Now with a price tag of $679 available on HomeDepot.com, this pressure washer is not cheap. However, when you compare it to similar spec'd items, say like an AR630 TSS, that thing comes in around 800 bucks. A Krenzle ranging between $1,200 to $1,500. This thing may be a fantastic choice. So we're gonna jump into it, we're gonna unbox it, we're gonna test the actual PSI, the actual GPM, the amperage rating, and also see if it has a total stop system. I don't see the little mechanism on it here, so I don't think it does, but we'll test that as well. All right guys, so I found this thing on Home Depot's website, right? When I was doing some research regarding the 2800 PSI professional electric pressure washer that Dewalt has, I came across this thing and I was like, man, this looks like a real competitor to the Krenzles, the ARs, all that kind of good stuff, the new Active, the new Big Boys, all that kind of good stuff. It looks like that kind of a machine. So I ordered it. Again, it was $650 some odd dollars plus plus tax. Shipping was free. But the downside, guys, first initial impression, I was super excited. I got the notification on my phone that it had been delivered, and this is how it was delivered. The box is absolutely destroyed. Now, I'm not saying that this is DeWalt's fault at all, or Home Depot's. I get it that when shipping companies get a hold of these things, especially a heavy unit like this, they don't always take the the most amount of care. However, I'm confused because we have normal packaging tape down here. We have some blue packaging style tape up here that obviously did not hold. Again, the side is completely ripped open, falls right to the side, and everything is in here, kind of crammed in there. But if you, everything is covered in dust and just not a great presentation for something that costs, essentially 700 bucks with tax. Now with that said, guys, the presentation of it really doesn't matter to me. It's the performance of this thing. Like I said, it is available at HomeDepot.com. So if you get this and it arrives like this, order another one, take this one back to your local store, right? Because I don't know, or test it out and see if it works. But for me, I just care about the performance. So hopefully this thing is not damaged. Let's go ahead and pop it open and see exactly what it comes with and start testing it. Now, as I said before, this thing is rated at 1500 PSI, 2 gallons per minute. They also list it as a 13.5 amp machine. So let's just go ahead. I'm not gonna be gentle with this because it obviously wasn't gentle in the shipping anyway. So there we go. I will say that they do, again, the packaging was very, very rough on delivery, but they do have all these foam inserts into all the important places. So that's encouraging, right? I'm encouraged that the machine should work properly. So we do have our cord here. It does have a ground fault interrupt on it. Length on that thing, let me check for you real quick. Okay, so it actually shows a 35-foot cord length. Now, just trying to unbox this. We have the user manual here and a few other items. Looks like a little chemical injector type of unit. I don't know yet. Let's just go ahead and look at, here are the nozzles, right? So we get a soap dispensing nozzle, a 0 degree, 15, 25, and a 40. Now let's see if they list what size these are. When we did the 2800 PSI unit, they listed it as a kind of a weird number, 0.72. Okay, here we go. Much more to what I'm used to. It says 40032. That means it's a 40 degree, 3.2 orifice. Let's see if that's all the same. 15, 032, 25, 032, and 00032. So all the same orifice. We're only gonna have to test one to see what the actual usable PSI and GPM numbers are. Again, we'll try to manipulate them from there and see if we can maximize it for car detailing. But good to know they're listed 3.2. That's a decent size for what this is rated for. So let's go ahead and just slowly unpack this whole thing. We have the backing plate here, which is a nice solid metal. Let's go ahead and, again, this is really nice that they do include this type of packaging to it. So usually they just fill the bag, pour this expanding foam in there, shoving it into all the places, and it forms in so that it gives you a nice safe zone. Let's go ahead and pull the gun out. Now the gun, interesting, it has an actual handle here. Quality of the gun seems fine, nothing super crazy. It seems like there's a swivel here. I don't know if that, we'll test that and see if this is maneuverable afterwards. And then you also do get, if I can get it out of here, a nice lance extension. Oh, there we go. Okay, so normal lance extension there. We're gonna go ahead and tighten this down on the unit real quick, get this thing all set up, and then see if this handle still spins around. So as always, we just seat it over the O-rings, okay? Get this to come up and tighten down on this thing, hopefully. And yeah, this little thing just kind of seems to sit around the inner structure, so it does move around. I don't know if I would like that or not. Personally, I'm gonna be using a shorter wand anyway, but it is kind of a cool little feature. So you can manipulate it to however you need for comfort. Really quickly, guys, let's go ahead and compare this wand to the one that came with the 2800. Very different. So the professional grade one here, on this unit, already comes with a quick connect in the end. So that's nice. This one was just a basic M22 connection point. The wands themselves follow a very, very similar design pattern, but the robustness of the one that comes with this unit is substantially more. So this one, as you can see, it was just a sticker for the Dewalt logo. This one actually has a plastic embedded piece into it. Again, you have the swivel here, which is a kind of a nice rubberized, hard rubber texture. So good grip there. Yeah, just overall, a much more stout pressure washer wand for this unit. All right, and then last but not least, we do have the pressure washer hose here. Again, a very stout hose. Reminds me of the AR630 hose that thing comes with. Again, stout hose is just not my favorite. It's just kind of cumbersome. Let me see if I can get part of this out for you. So it just wants to kind of stay curled up. Again, it'll break in over time. Relatively flexible, not great. It'll kink eventually, but I mean, this thing is a stout hose. You're not gonna have any issue with it other than it being cumbersome when you're using it. But for the rated PSI and GPM of this thing should be 100% fine. All right, guys, so I actually couldn't find the length on this thing, so I just measured it out, and it is coming in at 25 feet. I apologize. And it's, again, not a bad hose at all. It is just cumbersome. So keep that in mind if you are gonna just continually use this thing. For me, 25 feet's not enough, so I would definitely upgrade this. I would just go to an Uberflex hose. That'll handle this PSI rating no problem, and it's super flexible, super easy to work with, and you can get it in 50 feet. I'll put a link to that in the description. Hey guys, so here is the unit. Really nice build quality, everything looks really good. You have your water inlet right here. Actually, there's just a little plug on it right now. So let me try and get that off. There we go, water inlet. Everything's nice construction, nice mesh filter there for you. Triplex pump, so that's always a really nice pump. You have your water outlet here already with a quick connect on it. As you can see, you have your oil reservoir here. How serviceable is this thing? I don't know. It looks to be pretty darn serviceable, to be perfectly honest. I don't know that for sure, but I'll look into that a little bit more. It says important before starting, remove the red shipping plug from the top of the pump and install the breather cap. So right here, they have it included here. You're just gonna wanna remove that, put the breather cap in there, and then you're good to go. Now, the wheels are just a harder rubberized plasticky material. Feel nice though, they're the never flat type, so you're good there. Going around the sides, you do have just a nice hose carrier on the side, nothing crazy. It almost looks like they're supposed to include a strap, but there's nothing else to hook it onto over there. So I don't know, it just sits in there nicely. The pressure washer wand on the other side, nice little area for that to hang into. Now I think it's super nice that they include this cart if you want to be able to move it around, but you may be asking yourself, well, can I wall mount this thing? And the answer is an absolute yes. Very, very easily, guys. It's just 4 bolts on the bottom, and then lift it right off, and there you go. Let me go ahead and pull this out of the way. As you can see, it lays completely flat and solid on the ground. Perfect. You can even take the rubberized feet that are on here and keep those in here on the base of this unit if you want, just for some vibration reduction. Wherever you do mount it, just get new bolts, use those feet, and you're set. Now the unit itself, big power button right on the front here. Really nice and enclosed, so it is water resistant or waterproof, whatever. You have your water inlet here, water outlet there with quick connects already set up on it. And then you have this knob here, which is a pressure regulator knob, which is awesome. So you can dial back the pressure just right there if you need to. However, I still like just keeping this maxed out and then manipulating the PSI and GPM with the nozzles, changing out the orifice size of the nozzle. Because when you drop this back, yes, you do reduce the PSI, but you also reduce the GPM, which is not what I'm looking for. One thing to note though is on this side, nice kind of curved shape there. On this side, there's this, and it looks like a space for screws. There's nothing that the unit comes with, so that's probably just a generic type of piece. I don't know. It looks like I'm supposed to screw something in there, but I don't have anything to screw in there. On the front, just a little bit sloppy here for the labeling, 1500 psi 2gpm, but like they didn't bother putting that on straight at all. And again, just for the price of the unit,
I think things like that are a bit of a bummer. I didn't do much better of a job, but again, I'm doing this one-handed while holding a camera. So, you know, much better there. Okay, so that's better. This little Dewalt piece on the front here is just a padded, like almost like on the handlebars of your bicycle when you're a kid. It's just a Velcro piece, comes right off, but nice branding nonetheless. Now we do come around the side, and it does state here, FNA Group, Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, under license from Dewalt. So Dewalt is having this made by another company, right? So we're gonna look up FNA Group and see if I can get any information on them. Now it does show a rated PSI of 2500, so this thing's probably tuned down to the 1500 so we get that max flow at a lower amperage rate. So again, we'll test that in a second. I'm just gonna do a little research and see what I can find about the FNA Group. All right, guys, so after a quick Google search, we found the FNA Group, the one in the correct area, and it shows FNA Group is a world-class manufacturer of pressure washers and outdoor equipment. Brands are Simpson, Delco, Power Washer, AAA, which is that pump that's on the unit, and OEM Solutions. I think that was the hose that's on this unit. So everything's made in-house by them, and they're just licensing the DeWalt name. Now, is this really made by Simpson or is it really made by Power Wash? I don't know. I've never heard of this brand. I even did a search on that and nothing really came up. So yeah, that is the brand.
All right, guys, now one thing to note, I am reading through this and it does state, before connecting the water supply to the hose, be sure that the water supply is capable of providing an uninterrupted source of clean, cold water at a minimum rate of 5 gallons per minute and 20 pounds per square inch. So that's an interesting thought there, guys. Obviously, they just need that water flow probably to keep the engine cool and all that kind of good stuff. Normal garden hose, you're not going to have any issue. As far as a gravity-fed system for a pressure washer, like if you're doing it as a mobile detailer in the back of your truck, check that to make sure. I don't know. I don't see any issue with that with my personal rig. I'm running an AR630 TSS out of there right now. So I don't see that being an issue because I have enough gravity fed. I'm using a 100-gallon tank gravity fed above the machine, and it gives a good amount of flow. All right, guys, so we've got the machine all set up. I went ahead and hooked up the water source, pulled the trigger without the machine on, and pulled it and pulled it and pulled it until let all the water purge out of it, right? So now let's go ahead and take the tip off. All the water is purged out. I'll show you again, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and fire the machine on. Very, very quiet machine here, guys. I think they have it listed at 65 decibels. It's very, very quiet. Sounds really, really good. I'm gonna go ahead and stop pulling the trigger. Let's see if it has the total stop system. No, it doesn't. It kind of does, right? You can hear it or ramp down, but it's definitely not turning off completely. So let's go ahead and plug in the 40-degree nozzle. Now, like I said before, I only have to test this one. I'll show you guys another one just for some clarity. But since they're all the same orifice size, they're gonna get all the same, get the same PSI and GPM. So let's just go ahead and pull the trigger real quick and see. Feels very powerful. You can hear the machine running. We're gonna stop pulling. Yeah, so it sounds, something shuts down, but it doesn't shut down completely. So no on the total stop system. Let's go ahead and look at the PSI rating right now. Again, this is up to a 40-degree nozzle. Wow, this is really tight on here. There we go, okay. So here we go, hopefully you guys can see this. And we are at about 1350 currently. So 1350 PSI. Now I'm totally fine with that, right? This is the purpose of this thing. Let me turn this off. The purpose of this thing is for washing cars, and my purpose, I apologize, it may not be for you, but with a 1500 PSI rating at 2 GPM, in my mind, that's perfect for cars. I typically like to run it around 1100 PSI is kind of my sweet spot, and to try and get the most GPM as I can. With this 3.2 nozzle, we're getting 1350. So if we go to a 3.5, may bump it up a little bit, but let's go ahead and test the GPM with this thing right now. All we're gonna do is spray it into a bucket for 1 minute. That'll give us our gallons of flow per minute rating, and we'll measure that out and we'll know the number. All right, guys, so here's my bucket with my little measuring guide on it. We're just gonna take the nozzle of the gun, put it straight into the bucket. We're gonna turn the unit on. I have a timer on my watch here, so I have it zeroed out right now. I'm gonna pull the trigger and start at the same time. We'll run this thing for 1 minute. Here we go. Yeah, guys, we're holding strong at 1350 PSI. And there's 1 minute. All right, so let's go ahead and shut this off. I'm gonna let the pressure out. Okay, fantastic amount of flow here, guys. I'm gonna get this on a nice even level here. Let it settle, and then we'll look at the rating. Alrighty, guys. So it has mellowed down now. As you can see, we're at about 7.5 quarts. So with that 7.5 quarts, we are sitting at 1.875 GPM. Now, right out of the gate with these things, typically the pumps and the things like that need to wear in a little bit before you get the maximum efficiency. So at 1350 PSI, we'll probably bump that up to 1400, and this will probably bump up a little bit. Maybe not full 2 GPM, but a little bit more. Let's go ahead and see if we can manipulate that anymore, but already, guys, this is phenomenal, right? These are similar to the numbers that like a Kranzlo would get. And comparing this on the cart, the whole deal, to a machine that's, you know, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500, pretty good. Is the build quality the same as the Kranzlo? No, but all we really care about is the performance, right? We're looking at like the AR would be a similar thing. This is a similar hose to the AR in my personal opinion, but it doesn't come on the cart. So if you want a cart, this is really cool that it has it, but you can't take it off as well, which is what I would be doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss this out. We're gonna switch over to a different sized nozzle. We're gonna bump it up to a 3.5, a 3.7, which is what comes on the Active 2.0. And then go from there, maybe even a 4.0, and see what kind of numbers we get, and then we'll test the GPM with those. All right, guys, so we're gonna change out the 3.2 nozzle that it came with. We're gonna go to a 3.5. I'll have all these linked down in the description for you guys as well. Let me turn this on and test the PSI now. Now, when we open up that orifice, right, when it gets a little bit larger, from 3.2 to 3.5 to 4.0, whatever, that's gonna decrease the PSI a little bit. Again, I prefer around 1100 PSI and getting that GPM as high as I can. So as long as I don't drop the PSI too much, 1000's fine for me, and we get the higher GPM, I'm really happy. Let's see here. All right, that put us, 3.5 put us on the mark for 1100 PSI. Now just feeling it, yeah, that's one thing I was gonna note is with that factory nozzle that it came with, it felt a little bit more powerful at the ends of the fan, the two ends. With this nozzle, it's feeling clean all the way through. Really consistent pressure all the way through. So I like that a lot. Let's just, for fun, let's look at the 3.7 nozzle that comes with an Active 2.0. Okay, so here's a 3.7. Let me double check that. Yeah, 3.7 nozzle. We are at 950 PSI. Again, feels very consistent all the way through. I think I have a 4.0. Let me check that real quick. All right, guys, so this is one of those coned ones. It has a nice soft texture. So if you get a little close to the car and bump it, you're not bumping metal or really hard plastic. You have this nice soft plastic. This is the one from McKillen's. This is a 4.0 nozzle. So let's go ahead and see where this sits. Again, this hose is not the most pleasant to work with. Man, it's sitting approximately 850, slightly above that. Let's see here. See if you guys can see that. But I gotta say, the pressure and the flow and everything still feels really, really good. So we're gonna skip out on that 3.7 nozzle because you can't buy those aftermarket. You can buy a 3.5, you can buy a 4.0. So we'll test it with the 3.5 and the 4.0 for the GPM, and then kind of assess where we think is the best. All right, guys, so we're gonna take off that 4.0. We're going back to the 3.5 nozzle. Okay, empty out the bucket. Make sure it's dry. Alrighty, and again, we're gonna test this for 1 minute. All right, so there's 1 minute again. And yes, we were sitting right at that 1100 mark. Once again, measure this out. Let me get it settled and then we'll look at it. All right, guys, so slight improvement, not crazy. So I'm not even gonna show you. It's just a hair above what it was before. So we went from 1300 PSI, 1.875, probably to 1100 PSI, 1.9. We'll call it 1.9, maybe slightly over that, but roughly 1.9. Let's go ahead and do the 40-degree nozzle, the 4.0 orifice nozzle now, and test that one, because like I said, that even though it was showing 850, 875 on the PSI range, it still felt really, really powerful. So if we're getting 2 GPM out of that, then that may be where I go, but let's go ahead and test it. All right, that's 1 minute. And again, guys, it probably spiked up to about 900 PSI and then settled down. Really, that 875, I would say, is the accurate number for the PSI rating on that. With that nozzle, let's go ahead and look at it again. All right, guys, interestingly enough, we are getting the lower PSI, but the GPM rating is not coming up much different at all. So I'm still gonna call it 1.9. There's, again, just a hair, without going in and weighing everything out, 1.9 is where I'm gonna put it. So the difference between 1.875 at 1100 PSI versus 1.9-ish at 875, I'm going with the 3.5 nozzle, or just sticking to that 3.2 that it comes with. You may not have to upgrade it. Then you were getting 1300 PSI, that's where we were at 1.875, right? I can't remember off the top of my head. But either the factory nozzle that comes with that 3.2 or go to a 3.5, drops your PSI a little bit, and you do get a little bump in GPM. That's where I would sit with it. Now, one more test that we need to do is check the amperage, right? They state 13.5 amps. Anything under 15, we're safe on like 99% of home use situations. Sometimes, like with the AR that I have, that thing you need a 20 amp breaker typically. And even then, sometimes you have some issues. It's a powerful machine. But we're gonna go back to the factory nozzle, right? And again, they're all the same size, so we don't have to test all the other ones. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the trigger. We're gonna test the amperage reading. So we're gonna go ahead and turn the unit on. All right, and right off the bat, our amperage reading is going up. We're about 7.25 is where it maxed out. We're gonna pull the trigger. All right, good to know. Very, very good to know. So that immediately spiked up to 15.65 or so with that nozzle that it comes with. Now, if you're in a home that has a 15 amp breaker that's an older style home, you may have some serious issues with that. It may kill it. So with that said, let's see if we can manipulate that to make it work. To a 3.5 orifice nozzle. All right, guys, we've got the 3.5 in there now. Gonna go ahead and pull the trigger. You're good to go. With the 3.5, you're good to go. All right, guys, so there you have it, the Dewalt 1500 PSI 2 GPM electric pressure washer, professional grade. Again, professional grade triplex pump, oil changeable, fully serviceable unit. Fantastic little deal here. Again, available at HomeDepot.com, so it's definitely worth a check if you're interested in a more professional grade unit. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope that video helps you. Please make sure to like the video, make sure you're subscribed, turn on that notification bell, and we will see you on the next one.